Let's get some official response now from the Mexican government to the news of this caravan and the criticism from President Trump and his administration. Geronimo Gutierrez is the Mexican ambassador to the U.S. Mr. Ambassador, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much, Brett.
Your thoughts on today, what the president has tweeted and what the administration is saying.
Well, thank you first for the chance to address this issue this evening. I think it's important. It has certainly raised attention here. Two quick things. The first one is Mexico's migration policy is to seek that any migration is legal, safe, orderly, and respectful of basic human rights. And that's the way we act upon immigration. We certainly do not advocate for irregular immigration from our nationals or any other country. The second thing is that, in fact, our authorities, U.S. and Mexico cooperation, is very good on the matter. And I'll give you an example. Just last year, we convened a joint summit in Miami, authorities from the U.S. and Mexico, precisely to address this issue. We're working together, to foster development in Central American countries in order really to address the root causes of immigration, and also to do a better job in managing immigration in a way, again, that it's legal, safe, and orderly.
So specifically on this caravan, understanding that it does happen annually and it's used by some groups as a fundraising activity, really, are you going to do something different this year?
We are doing, first of all. Number one, the first thing is that you rightly mentioned this is not new. In a sense, it's largely intended to call attention on the rights of migrants in Mexico. Number two is our migration authorities are looking at, as appropriate, either to repatriate these people or to offer humanitarian relief to them in Mexico. And by the way, we have been in contact with the U.S. Embassy in Mexico since March 25, precisely to address it. And that's why I appreciate the opportunity to clarify these issues here this evening.
Mr. Ambassador, your country has pretty strict immigration laws. You, as William mentioned, deport tens of thousands of Hondurans and Salvadorans and Guatemalans every year.
We do. It is in the best interest of all nations, the Central Americans, ourselves, and the U.S., to assure that people don't migrate irregularly. It's actually very dangerous. And that is why, just for example, in 2016, Mexico repatriated, respecting the rights of people, repatriated around 153,000 Central Americans.
That's a lot of people.
In 2017, that number was around 100,000. And the figures so far for these years are around 40,000. So we do work to assure that migration is legal, safe, and orderly.
So in that sense, you understand where President Trump is coming from in this policy?
I think it's very important. We certainly understand the concern not only that President Trump has, but people in the United States here have about immigration. And I have to say that Mexico is now largely a country that receives immigrants. It's a source and a destiny of immigration. So we understand this very clearly. And what we're trying to do precisely is to work with the United States and Central Americans, first, again, to address the cause of immigration. Because if we don't do that, it's very difficult. And second, to achieve migration policies that allow us to better manage the phenomenon.
So what do you do along your southern border? And is the U.S. helping you?
We work, it is in our own interest to have a secure border in our southern border, and we're also in favor of having a secure border with the United States. But actually, Brett, if we do have legal avenues for people to migrate, we do a better job, and we can devote more resources to the actual security threats. We work closely with U.S. on different mechanisms regarding immigration in our shared border and also in our southern border.
Has the drug problem increased or decreased in recent weeks?
Just last year, Brett, we had two very important high-level strategic dialogues with the United States in order to address drug trafficking. And the way we're dealing with this is that we really need to see it as a market issue. There is certainly a supply element to this, there's a demand element to this, and what we agreed with the United States authorities is that we must really disrupt the business operations of transnational organized crime. If we only go against the head of cartels, that we do, and quite successfully, the problem is that the market remains. And we're not really able to solve clearly the issue. So we need to disrupt their business models. We're working very closely with security agencies here in the United States precisely for that purpose.
So you know that the president, this administration, has linked helping with the border and the immigration issue directly with negotiations on NAFTA. The last tweet the president had today, Mexico is making a fortune on NAFTA. They have very strong border laws. Ours are pathetic with all the money they make from the U.S. Hopefully they will stop people from coming through their country into ours, at least until Congress changes our immigration laws. What do you think about that linkage?
First of all, it is in our own best interest, and that's the way we see it, to assure that migration is safe, legally, and ordered. The same happens. We work on cooperation on security matters with the United States because it's also on our best interest, and we will continue to do so. Now, on trade, what is very important is NAFTA, in our view, has been largely a successful agreement for the three countries. It is 25 years old. It needs updating and modernizing, and that's why we're focusing with the U.S. and our Canadian friends in finding a solution that is win-win-win for the three countries.
Are you optimistic that that's going to come to a conclusion?
Quite clearly, there are some difficult issues to tackle. We're not there yet. I think we're in a better shape today than we were a year ago. I think that the negotiating teams are gaining ground. There are important issues that we haven't solved, but I think there's a strong commitment on the part of the three partners to try to solve this. There's too much at stake for Mexico, certainly, but also for Canada and for the United States. And quite clearly, a lot of employment on the three countries depends on a successful NAFTA renegotiation. It's not so much, Brett, about how much we trade among ourselves, although that's important, but how are we, in fact, producing together to export to other regions of the world.
Mr. Ambassador, we appreciate your time. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here this evening.
Thank you.